The clearest sign an avoidant truly loves you is not intensity, it's consistency. And I need you to let that sink into your chest, because intensity is easy to confuse with love when you've been starving for reassurance. Intensity feels like late-night messages, like chemistry that burns fast, like sudden vulnerability that makes you think, finally, they're letting me in. And then, just as quickly, the door closes, the warmth turns to distance. The replies slow down, and you're left holding the same question again. What changed? That roller coaster can feel like passion, but it isn't. It's unpredictability. And unpredictability does something dangerous to a loving heart. It makes you chase. Consistency is different. Consistency is not fireworks. It's a flame that stays lit when the night gets cold. It's someone showing up in ways that don't require you to beg, to remind, to over-explain, to perform calm while you're quietly falling apart. It's not perfection, it's pattern. It's not, sometimes they're amazing. It's most of the time I feel safe. And for an avoidant, that kind of steadiness is not automatic. It is a choice because their nervous system has learned to treat closeness like risk, and risk triggers withdrawal. So when an avoidant truly loves you, the miracle is not that they feel something. The miracle is that they stay present through the moment they want to run. You can measure it in small moments. They don't vanish for days and then reappear like nothing happened. They don't leave you guessing whether you said the wrong thing. They don't punish you with silence because you expressed a need. They communicate before they withdraw. Even if it's messy, even if it's awkward, even if all they can manage is, I'm overwhelmed right now, I need a little time, but I'm not disappearing. Those words might sound simple to someone secure, but to an avoidant, they are emotional bravery because they are choosing connection over control. Consistency also means they don't make love conditional on you being low maintenance. You're not only loved when you're quiet. You're not only welcomed when you're easy. They don't reward you for shrinking. They don't make you feel like your feelings are a burden you must hide to be kept. Instead, they learn the rhythm of you. They learn what calms you. They learn what triggers you. And they try, not perfectly, but sincerely. They start to understand that if they care about you, they must care about the environment your heart lives in. And a heart cannot live in chaos for long without breaking. And here's what will hit you the hardest. When an avoidant becomes consistent, you start to feel your own anxiety soften. You stop checking your phone every 5 minutes. You stop rewriting messages in your head. You stop walking on eggshells. You stop treating every delay like a rejection. Your nervous system begins to relax because it finally has evidence. Evidence that love isn't something you have to earn daily. Evidence that you can be human and still be held. Evidence that you can speak and not be abandoned. So if you're wondering whether it's real, don't ask, do they feel strongly? Ask, do they show up steadily? Because the person who loves you won't only be present when it's convenient. They will be present in the boring parts, the hard parts, the parts where commitment is tested. And if you can't rely on them in those moments, then what you have isn't love that builds. It's love that drains. And you deserve the kind that builds, the kind that steadies, the kind that stays. An avoidant who truly loves you will stop using distance as power and start using honesty as protection. And this is one of the rarest, most healing shifts you will ever witness, because distance has been their armor for so long that it almost feels like a personality. When they feel overwhelmed, when they feel exposed, when they feel like they might fail you, their instinct is not to lean in, it is to pull back. They go quiet. They get busy. They disappear into work, into sleep, into distraction, into anything that helps them avoid the unbearable feeling of being emotionally seen. And when you love someone like that, you start doing something heartbreaking. You start negotiating with silence. You start asking yourself how to phrase things so they won't vanish. You start shrinking your needs to keep the peace. You start believing that if you can just be softer, easier, calmer, they'll finally stay. But love that requires you to disappear inside yourself is not love that protects you. It's love that consumes you. And that's why this keynote matters so much. Because the avoidant who truly loves you begins to realize that their silence is not neutral. Their distance is not harmless. Their disappearing is not space. It's a wound. It leaves you bleeding in the dark with no explanation, no reassurance, no sense of safety, and the person who genuinely loves you will not keep wounding you just to feel comfortable. They will start to choose honesty, not because it's easy, but because losing you becomes scarier than being vulnerable. Honesty for an avoidant often starts small. It doesn't always sound poetic. It might not come with a perfect apology or a big emotional speech. Sometimes it's a shaky sentence. Sometimes it's a message they send and immediately regret sending because it makes them feel exposed. It sounds like, "I'm feeling overwhelmed," or "I don't know what to say right now," or "I'm afraid I'm going to disappoint you," or "I need a little time, but I'm not leaving." And to you, that might sound like the bare minimum, but to them, it is a door opening where there used to be a wall. It is them choosing to let you into their inner world instead of locking you out and calling it independence. And here's the difference that will change your life. When they stop using distance as power, they stop making you guess. They stop making you earn clarity. They stop making you chase. Because distance as power keeps you in suspense, it keeps you waiting. It keeps you emotionally off balance. And that imbalance makes you easier to control. Not always intentionally, but functionally. When you never know where you stand, you overinvest. You over-explain. You overgive. You become grateful for crumbs. That is the trap. And the avoidant who truly loves you begins to see the trap. And instead of benefiting from it, they start to dismantle it. They begin to communicate before they withdraw, not after the damage is done. They begin to name what's happening inside them, even if it's uncomfortable. They begin to reassure you without being asked 100 times. They begin to show you that space is not abandonment. That alone is protection. Because the most painful thing in this dynamic is not a fight, it's the silence after the fight. It's the cold gap where you don't know if you're still loved, still chosen, still safe. When they choose honesty, they protect you from that torment. They protect your nervous system. They protect your dignity. They protect the bond from the slow poison of uncertainty. So if you're watching this and you're thinking, they always say they need space, ask yourself, do they use space to heal, or do they use space to avoid? Do they come back with clarity, or do they come back pretending nothing happened? Do they communicate, or do they disappear? Because the avoidant who loves you does not weaponize space. They may still need it, yes, but they will hold your heart while they take it. They will not leave you alone in the dark. They will not make your love feel like a guessing game. They will start choosing honesty over escape, not perfectly, not overnight, but consistently enough that you can breathe again. And when you can breathe, you stop chasing love and you start receiving it. When an avoidant truly loves you, they don't suddenly become fearless. They don't wake up one day magically fluent in emotions. They don't turn into a different person who never gets overwhelmed. What changes is something deeper, something rarer. They choose discomfort for the sake of connection. And if you've ever loved someone avoidant, you know exactly why that matters, because the default pattern is comfort through distance. The moment things get serious, the moment you ask for clarity, the moment you ask, "Can we talk about what happened?" their system reaches for the exit. Not because you're wrong for asking, but because closeness has always felt like a trap to them, like losing control, like being exposed and judged and found lacking. So the greatest proof of love is not their sweetest moment. It's what they do when their body screams, "Run," and they decide, "I'm going to stay." Choosing discomfort looks like staying in the conversation when they'd rather shut it down. It looks like hearing your feelings without immediately defending themselves. It looks like not turning your needs into too much, not labeling you as demanding, not punishing you with silence because the truth makes them uncomfortable. It looks like them saying, "I don't know how to do this perfectly, but I want to try," instead of disappearing and calling that peace. Because real peace isn't the absence of emotion, it's the presence of safety. And safety requires effort, not avoidance. When they love you, they start to understand that the hard moments are not the enemy. The way they handle the hard moments is the relationship. And this is where your heart has been breaking because you've been living in the gap between their feelings and their actions. You've seen sparks of warmth, glimpses of tenderness, moments where you thought, there you are, the real you, and then the withdrawal came, the coldness came, the distance came, and you started doing emotional gymnastics just to keep them close. You started editing your words, softening your tone, lowering your expectations, telling yourself you're fine when you're not, because you were afraid that asking for more would push them away. But the avoidant who truly loves you doesn't require you to perform less of yourself to keep them. They begin to grow a tolerance for the reality of intimacy, which includes conflict, repair, vulnerability, and accountability. They stop expecting love to feel effortless, and they start accepting that love sometimes feels uncomfortable because it asks you to be seen. Choosing discomfort also means they begin to take emotional risks. They reach out first sometimes. They initiate plans instead of leaving you to wonder. They say the awkward truth instead of hiding behind vague excuses. They may still feel the urge to retreat, but they communicate it with care. I'm overwhelmed. I need a little space, but I'm not leaving you. That sentence is not small, it's huge, because it means they are holding your heart while they regulate their own. It means they understand that space is not supposed to be abandonment. And if they want the privilege of loving you, they cannot keep sending you into panic just so they can feel calm. And there's another layer to this, because discomfort is not only about conversations, it's about commitment. It's about consistency when they would rather keep things undefined. It's about choosing a path that makes them accountable, a relationship that asks them to show up, a bond that requires them to be reliable. For an avoidant, undefined can feel safe, because undefined means they can escape without consequences. But love pulls them out of that. Love makes them face the terrifying idea that you could matter enough to lose, that you could hurt them by leaving, that they could disappoint you and have to repair it. So when they truly love you, they don't keep you in limbo forever. They don't keep you as a secret. They don't keep you as a maybe. They begin to make room slowly, imperfectly, but intentionally, because they'd rather face the discomfort of growth than the regret of losing you. So if you want to know whether it's real, don't only look for affection, look for courage. Look for the moments where they could have disappeared, and instead they stayed present. Look for the moments where honesty was harder than silence, and they chose honesty. Look for the moments where the old pattern begged them to run, and they chose the hard, healing thing. They chose connection anyway. An avoidant will let many people into their life in fragments, in safe portions, in moments where they feel in control. But there is one thing they often reserve for the person they truly love. They let you matter in their real life, not just in private. And I don't mean they post you on social media or make grand speeches. I mean something far more intimate. They integrate you. They stop keeping you in a separate room of their world where you only exist when it's convenient. And they start making space for you in the parts of life where commitment is measured, where effort is visible, where choices are real. Because private love can be misleading. Private love can look like late night calls, deep talks, tenderness when no one else is around, a softness that makes you feel special, like you're seeing the side of them nobody else gets. And that can be real, it can be genuine, it can be beautiful, but it can also be a hiding place. It can be where an avoidant feels safe because it costs them nothing long term. They can give you intimacy in a moment, then disappear back into independence the next day, and you are left with a relationship that feels intense but unstable, warm but undefined. And you start clinging to the private moments as proof, even while the public reality, the planning, the integration, the consistency is missing. When an avoidant truly loves you, they stop treating you like an experience and start treating you like a person. They stop assuming you will adapt to their schedule, their moods, their disappearances. They begin to consider you. You see it in the way they plan ahead instead of leaving you on standby. You see it in the way they include you in decisions rather than informing you after the fact. You see it in the way they protect time for you without making you beg for it. Because when someone loves you, they don't only make room for you when life is empty, they make room for you even when life is full. Integration also means you're not constantly hidden from the parts of their life that feel too close. You meet friends, you get referenced naturally, you're included in future talk without them choking on the word we. It's not about labels for the sake of labels. It's about the emotional message behind the behavior. You belong here. And that message is what an avoidant struggles to give, because belonging implies permanence, and permanence triggers fear. Fear of losing freedom, fear of being depended on, fear of being exposed, fear of failing you. So when they start integrating you, they are doing something courageous. They are letting you become real in a way that cannot be easily erased. and you feel the difference in your body. You stop feeling like you have to audition. You stop feeling like you're only allowed to be present if you're easy. You stop feeling like one wrong move will get you put back on the shelf. Because being integrated brings stability, and stability calms your nervous system. It tells you, I don't have to chase to be remembered. It tells you, I don't have to be perfect to be kept. It tells you this isn't a relationship built on secret moments and long silences, it's built on shared life. But let's be honest, integration is also where many people get stuck, because you can feel loved in private and still be left out in reality. And that hurts in a way that is hard to explain. It makes you doubt yourself. It makes you wonder if you're asking for too much when you want to be included, when you want planning, when you want to be acknowledged as part of their world. You start telling yourself you should be grateful for what you get because you've seen how close they can be. Yet love is not proven by how hard it is to access someone. Love is proven by how willingly they make room for you once they claim to care. So if you want to know whether an avoidant truly loves you, look beyond the private warmth and ask, do they integrate me? Do they plan with you? Do they include you? Do they make space for your presence in a way that doesn't require you to fight for it? Because anyone can be tender in secret, but the person who truly loves you will let you belong, and belonging is the most honest form of love they can offer.